Hey everyone, I'm Stefanie Mullen from RampantDesignTools.com, and today I'm going to show you how to use the effects found in the Fashion 02 Style Kit in Premiere Pro. Now, if you are not familiar with Rampant Style Kits, head on over to RampantStyleKits.com and check out all the amazing packs that Rampant has put together for your video needs. Everything from emojis all the way to business kits, Rampant has your video style needs covered, and it's super easy to use them, and I'm going to show you how. And like I mentioned at the beginning, this is all about how to use the effects from Fashion 02 in Premiere Pro, so let's jump over to Premiere and get started. And in today's lesson, I'm going to show you how to create these four different builds. So we're going to build a title plate like this, a title plate like this example. I'm going to show you how to add some transitions in there, and I'm going to show you how to do this effect right here. All of these are very simple to do, and they all use the effects found in Fashion 02. So let's get started. So here's a clean plate of our first piece of video. This is Girl Walking. And we're going to be creating a title plate. So first I'm going to go to my effects. Well, we have to import them, and these are going to be imported just like any other video footage. So I'm going to pull up my footage here. Here are my Fashion 02 effects. I'm going to highlight them all. I'm going to drag them in just like that. Now everything's in here. You can also go up here to File, Import this way. However you import your video files, get them into Premiere, and then you're ready to start. All right, so let's go back to our video clip here. We're going to be adding animated elements to this. So let's go to our animated elements bin, double click that and open it up. You'll see all of your elements right here. If you double click on an element, you can actually play it through and see it in action. Okay, so let's start building our title plate here. And we're going to start with an animated circle, and I'm going to probably choose, let's just see what this one does. Okay, so that's a smaller one. This is a bigger one. So let's go ahead and choose this. We're going to grab it. We're going to drag it over and place it above our footage. I'm just going to shrink it up a little bit to match my video. And you'll see now we have this animated element coming on. Now it's a little bit large, so let's go ahead and scale that down. So click on my effect, go to my effect controls, pull my scale down just like this. And that looks perfect. It's framing her really nicely. I love the way that looks. All right, so that's step one. Now, if we wanted to add color to this, what we're going to do is we're going to come to our effects panel down here. I'm going to type in the word tint, so T-I-N-T, and I'm going to drag that tint to my effect and then go back to my effect controls, and I can map the white to whatever color I want. I'm going to use a red, and just like that. And now you can work with the opacity. You can turn it down. If it's a little too dark, you can leave it like this, whatever you like. If you are working with the opacity, make sure you turn off your keyframe stopwatch right here. So turn that off, and then you can dial this back just a bit. Okay, so let's rewind that. All right, step one, we've just created this really cool animated element and put it on top of our video. You could stop here, or we can keep adding effects. So let's go back to our animated elements. And I want to find that element that was the outline, and it is going to be, it's going to be this number 7. So if I play that through, there you go. So we're going to grab that number 7, we're going to drag it, place it over top of our video footage, and right now you can't see it because it's very large, so we're going to go back to our effect controls and we're going to play with the scale until it's at a position we like. So I'm going to put it right about, that looks good. And let's go ahead and add another one of those, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it. So I'm going to hold down Option, drag up, and then I'm going to reposition this one as well. So let's zoom in just a little bit more, maybe like that. Okay, so now we have these two really cool circles. And if I wanted to add color to one of these, again, you can add a tint. So you can go back to your effects panel. I already have tint written in here, but if you didn't, you would be able to type tint. And then let's go ahead and add a tint to the inner circle. And I want to find out the exact tint color that I used here. So I'm going to go grab my hex code, and then I'm going to go back, put that hex code in. And there we go. So now we have this really cool element in the background, this light opacity circle, and then we've got 2 circles coming on. If we rewind that and we play that through, now you see we have these really cool animated elements that are coming on with our video. It looks awesome. All right, so that's the first step that we have. Now let's go ahead and add some titles in here. So we have this cool thing. So we had a title that was just from the title tool. I'm using Premiere 2018, so I can grab my type tool down here, come up to my video, click here, and I'll be able to type in my title just like that. So I can type in the word B-E-A-U-T-Y, beauty, and then I can highlight everything and I can change the font. And I've been using this font called Caveat, which I love. Just like that. And now we can scale it up, Change the size. Looks pretty good. We can adjust the position. And I'm going to bring it down just a little bit on the Y. Awesome. All right, so now we have this title, and what I want for this, actually want this title to start at the beginning, but I want it to be behind all of these graphics here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these 3 graphics, I'm going to drag them up, and I'm going to drag my title down. So now the graphics are going over top. You'll see here with the, especially with the color overlays right here. So we can go ahead and grab these back down. Now I want to also work with the opacity. So let's go ahead and go up, make sure we turn off our stopwatch. Turn the opacity back just a little bit so it's barely noticeable, like that. And let's go ahead and make one more title. So I'm going to hold down Option and I'm going to copy my beauty title. We're going to shrink these up just a little bit. And on this one, I'm going to move it up. And then I'm going to move it over a little bit. Move it up a little more. And I'm going to take my type tool and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to highlight everything and I'm going to write fashion. So F-A-S-H-I-O-N. I'll probably make it a little smaller. And then let's come back to the positioning. And we can position our title wherever we'd like to place it. I'm going to make it up a little higher. All right, so far we have this really cool title plate. So far, so good. So we have this coming on with the fashion and the beauty, and then we have the animated elements coming in. Perfect. Now the only thing that's left is we're going to add a title in the middle, and we're going to do that with a Rampant Essential Graphic file. So if I come here to my window, open up my Essential Graphics panel, here it is right here. And I come down, I'm going to be using a motion graphics that's called decoder type. All right, here it is right here. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drag it on top and let that load. All right, that's loaded in there. I'm going to shrink it up just a little bit. And now we can go in and put in our type, and I can put in the words beauty as title 1, and then title 2 I can put in the word fashion. And we can work with the fashion title. Let's go ahead and make it a little thicker. So let's add a stroke to it. Let's go and add a white stroke. Okay. Make the stroke width so it's a little bit thicker. There we go. And then let's work with the position of the entire title. Oops, a little too far. And we can keep adjusting the title until it's the perfect placement. And there we go. If I rewind this now. All right, and if we play that through, there we go. We've just created this really cool title plate in a matter of seconds. I love how easy these effects are to work with. All right, let's move on to the next one. And we're working with this plate right here. We have this girl. So we're going to add, and this is what the example is going to look like right here. So we have, we have this one matte right here. We have an animated circle here. We have an animated line right here. And then we have some text that's animating as well. All right. Plus we have a background. So let's go ahead and build that right now. Here's our clean plate. And the very first thing I'm going to do, I know that I'm going to have a background behind her. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my footage and drag it up one notch because we're going to have a color matte down here. So here's our footage, and we're going to let's first matte out her face in that example. We're going to come to our fashion training. We're going to go to our animated elements, and I'm going to be choosing this animated circle number 3. Here's what it looks like. All right, just like that. So I'm going to grab it, drag it, and drop it on top of my footage, and I'm going to shrink it up just a little bit, just like that. And you'll see here at the end it's a little bit larger, so let's go ahead and take the effect controls and take the scale down to about right here where it's fitting in the frame still. And I'm going to want this to cover her face right here, so let's go ahead and move it over just a little bit. So now it's positioned correctly. Now what we're going to do is to get this video inside this white area, we're going to be adding a track matte. So we can go to our effects panel. I'm going to grab my track matte key and drag it to my nested sequence footage, not my effect, put it on your footage. Now you're going to go up to your effect controls and tell your matte where it's living. So it's living on layer 3. And there we go. We've just popped her face in. So that's perfect. So now I'll rewind that. Perfect. Okay, since we're talking about this, let's go ahead and add a background in here. We're going to add a color matte. So I'm going to go back to my project window, and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on this little new item button. When I click here, you're going to be able to choose color matte, and then I'm going to have it the same settings that my video is, so 1920 by 1080. Say okay. I'm going to choose my color, and I'm going to choose a white. I'm going to choose a little bit of an off-white sort of a color. Like that. You can call it whatever. I'm going to call it color matte. Now I'm going to drag my color matte underneath. I'm going to shrink it up just a little bit. I'm going to drag it underneath all of my footage right here. Okay, so now we have our animation is happening over top of our color matte. Right, that's step 1. Now let's go ahead and add that other animated element in here. So we go back to our animated elements bin, and I'm going to choose this element right here, which is a static element. It doesn't move. I'm just going to have it be there. So I'm going to grab that, drag it in, pop it on. And then as you'll see, it's very large. So let's go to our effect controls and scale that down. And we're also going to reposition it a little and scale it down a little more. And that looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit smaller. All right, I love that. And let's add a tint to this. So let's go to our effects, type in the word tint, T-I-N-T, drag that tint to our element right here on top. And we're going to choose a red color. All right, super, super easy. That's it. So you could stop here. Let's go ahead and add that animated line to show you how that works. So go back to our animated elements bin. There's a line file right here. Grab that, drag it, drop it down. And there we go. And we can also make this a little smaller. And if it comes across, just like that. And maybe now I want my circle here to be a little smaller. So let's go ahead and shrink that down just a little bit. There we go. So the line's not crossing the actual elements. Now we have this really cool animation. It comes on and it has this line. All right, that is perfect. Now all we do to add some titles in, go to our title tool, come up here. I'm going to type the word beauty, B-E-A-U-T-Y. And I'm going to change this font to something a little more simple. Like Montserrat is a great thin font. So I'm going to go change it to that. Thin is great. Let's definitely scale that down just a bit. And let's move it down. And then let's move it back to the beginning. So now we have one title in here. And we're going to go ahead and put 2 titles in here. So let's move that one, move it down, and this one's going to be called Fashion. So go back, highlight everything, F-A-S-H-I-O-N. And I'm going to change this font to a different text, a different font here called Bodani. I love that. Let's make it a little larger. All right, so now we have 2 titles built in here. Really simple. They're just the built-in titles. Now let's put some movement on them. And we're going to have one come from the left side and one title come from the right side. So let's do beauty from the left. Let's go ahead and go up to position and work with our X. So maybe we'll start it here. Put your marker at the beginning of the clip. Click a keyframe, and then let's move it to the end of the clip. And let's move it over here. We don't want it to go too far. So now we have this little motion here. There we go. And now let's go ahead and do the same thing on the fashion side. So let's go back to the beginning, add a little motion to fashion, put a keyframe, and let's move it this way. That's a good position. And then go to the end, and let's put a keyframe going the opposite direction. Okay, so now if we rewind that, there we go. We have this really cool animation, and now we can work with the opacity of both of these titles. Make sure you turn the stopwatch off, crank down the opacity just a little bit, and actually let's keep the opacity of beauty on 100%. I like the way that looks. And now if we rewind that and play that through, Now we have this really cool title. That looks awesome, and it didn't take us any time at all. Such a cool technique to add in there. I love the way that looks. All right, so that's example number 2. Now let's move on to example number 3. We have this guy here, and maybe he's a model doing some modeling, and we want to incorporate 2 of these clips. So we have 2 different angles. We have a far away shot, and we have like sort of like a medium shot right here. And what I want to do is I'm going to use one of these animated mats or animated elements. I'm going to show you how cool it is. So I'm going to come over here to Animated Circle 01 and show you this one first. Okay, you guys have seen that one. And then I want to show you this Animated Circle 10. See how cool that was? This really cool circle animation comes right in there. All right, I'm going to use this footage too, and I want to use this zoomy circle here. So I'm going to put this up here, above here. I'm going to grab this circle number 10. I'm going to drag it on top, and I'm going to place it right here, shrink it up just a little bit. And we want this guy right here to be inside this circle. Well, first of all, I want to make the mat a little bit smaller. So let's go ahead and zoom it down just a little bit. And maybe I want it to be, the whole circle to be in frame. So when you look at it like this, all right, just like that, that's perfect. Now, to get this video inside this mat, we're going to be using a track mat. And because I already adjusted the scale, we're going to have to do something special to our clip first. We're going to have to create a nested sequence. So go ahead and nest that. And then we can add our track mat. So go to Effects, Add Track, drag it to our nested sequence, and then tell where's the track mat living? It's on video 4. And there you go. See how it's inside there? It looks so pretty. Now, if you wanted to move this video clip over, you can. We can click on the nested sequence, click on our video clip, and we can move it to the left. Go back here, and you'll see, here we go, it's moving. So let's rewind this. All right, I love the way that looks. It gives this really cool, subtle hint of movement to our video. Now, in the example, I went from here, and I zoomed and did a transition into a full clip of this guy right here. We can still do that. What I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to go to my nested sequence. I want to copy this exact clip, so I'm going to press Command-C, go back to my training, and if I move this down a little bit, I can paste this in. So now I have a fresh copy of this exact clip right here. And I don't want to move this clip right here. I want to make it so I want to scale it up so it's a little bit bigger. So I'm going to move this up one more layer. So let's go ahead and scale it up so it fits in here just like that. I love the way that looks. And now we're going to transition from that other clip. So if I move this, so from this clip right here, we want to transition in from this circle. So how are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to use a transition from this Fashion 02. Move that back over here. Go back to our project, and I'm going to click on Transitions. And here are all the transitions that are included. There are 14 of them. And we're going to be using transition number 1 that looks like this. So it's just a circle that animates out. So grab that, drag it over, drop it in. Let's shrink it up just a little bit. And again, because I put in effect, if I move this over a little bit, because I changed the scale of this video clip, I will not be able to use a track mat directly on it. Here's what happens when you use a track mat. So right now you'll see that this is, let me get where you can see. Okay, see the sizing of this? If this clip if you don't nest these clips together, whatever you do to this clip is going to happen to your mat. So for example, let me show you. If I add a track mat right now, and I go to my effect controls and I say track mat to mat number 7, do you see how the track mat, how the actual animated element itself moved? All right, we don't want that. So let me undo, and I'm going to undo again. What we want to do is we're going to nest this clip first. This is going to break that bond. And now I can add the track mat to this nested sequence, and then I can tell it to be on track 7, and it fits in there perfectly. Okay, I really like how that works. So now if we rewind this, you're going to see there's your animation. Okay, now we don't want this animation to start right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it down here. We want it to start right where this circle, animated circle, comes in and stops, right about there. So let's grab it like this, and now let's see what that looks like. Okay, you see how that looks really cool? We can probably even move it back even just an inch there. Like that. Look how cool that is. And that was all done with all the animated elements and the transitions inside of Fashion 02. I love it. There are so many things you can do with these. You can get really creative and get funky with these elements. I love it. Okay, so that's example number 3. Let's keep moving on to example number 4. Here we go. And we have this clip, and I'm going to let it run through because I want to show you it's this really nice, subtle movement of this girl. And it's a great camera move, but this is a long clip, and this is not a very interesting clip. So we want to make it more interesting by adding some animated elements to it. And so you're going to be able to show this entire clip in its entirety, but we're going to break it up. And what I want to do is I'm going to break it into 4 pieces. So that's how long it is. So I want to be like, this is 1 piece, then there's 2 pieces with it moved there, and then there's 3 pieces here, and then 4 pieces where she's working with her sleeves. All right. So I'm going to make a copy of my video 4 times. I'm going to hold Option, and I'm going to drag up 4 times. Just like that. Okay. So I've got 4 different pieces. Really, really simple. Now, on these 4 different pieces, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding some track mats. So I'm going to just move, we're going to work with 1 layer at a time. I'm going to move this down just a little bit. So we're going to work with this layer first. We're going to be going from this footage to this next footage right here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a track. I'm going to grab one of my mats. I'm going to go to my fashion training, click on animated mats, and I'm going to be using mat number 1, which I show you what this does. Okay. That's mat number 1. So let's go ahead and grab it, and we're going to drag it on top of our clip number 2 right here. Okay, so we have clip 1, clip 2, and it's going to go from this to our mat here. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to add a tint here to my bottom layer. So I'm going to go to my effects. I'm going to add a tint. I'm going to grab it, drag it on, and then go to my effect controls, change the white, and we're going to make it to about I like this red color. It's been working really well. So watch what happens. We go from red, and it's going to go to this white color. Well, first we have to add a track mat, so let's go ahead and do that. Now, because we're not changing the video, we're not scaling up, we're not changing the position, I can add a track mat directly to this video. So type in track, put it on my video. Do not put it on your effect. Make sure you put it on your video, and then tell the mat where the mat is living. So now if we watch this, we go from red to the actual real color. Okay, so bam, bam. Now let's do another one. Let's go back to the tinted color. So we have this file here. Now we could do this, or I can delete this and I can make a copy of this already tinted footage. Pull that up there. So boom, to tint again. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to use our mat. So all we have to do is copy our mat, the same mat. And then I need to put a track mat back on our footage here. So track mat, where's the mat living? It's living on video 5. So now we go boom, boom, and I'm going to do this to boom. Now we have to do, all we have to do is add our last piece of footage. So here's our last piece of footage right here with regular color, and we're going to add another mat. So go ahead and Option, drag, throw your mat on top to put a track mat on your video layer, and then tell you where your track mat's living, which is on video layer 8. And there we go. All right, so now we have boom, to boom, to boom, to boom. All right, now we can work with the timing. So maybe we want these to be a little bit shorter. So it goes like this, boom. Maybe that's even too long. So again, this would be timed to your music if you had music in your video. So, but I'm just going to make it short so it looks good. All right, and then we're going to grab our next piece, which is here. And let's go ahead and just make these even, just like this. Okay, so right now, watch it go boom, 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 and boom. All right, and then because I moved this layer down 1, we have to just tell it to be on video layer 7. All right, so now boom, boom, boom. Now all we're going to do now is we're going to go zoom in just a little bit. Okay, now we're going to work with the timing of our clips. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these down just a little bit, and I'm going to work with, and what I want to do now is I want to just sort of shrink this up a little. So let's just move it around. Maybe we're going to go from here and we're up a little bit higher, and then let's just shrink this up a little bit more, choose a different place, and then we finally end with her at the end, and we'll zoom in really far, and like this. Okay, so now if we play this through, you'll see that it's 4 different scenes and we're using the same clip. So we've just created this really interesting look from something that wasn't so interesting. Boom, boom, and boom. And you can time this to your music, and it looks really, really, really cool. I love how this looks. So I'm just going to shrink all of these up again just to make everything nice and neat. And we're going to play it through one more time. Boom, boom, boom. I love how that looks. It looks so great. And that's that. Now you know the ins and outs of using the effects found in the Fashion 02 Style Kit. As you can see, there are a lot of tricks you can do with these effects. I have only scratched the surface. Remember, you can add any built-in Premiere effect to your effects because they are just movie files. So get creative and have fun with it. Once again, this is Stefanie Mullen with RampantDesignTools.com. Thanks for watching.